Good morning, everyone. My name is Abhishek, and I'm the founder and CEO of Quest for Success. So, just to give you a background about myself and my institute, so I started Quest for Success back in 2013. We are based out of Bangalore, and we teach students online across India and even outside India. We help students with preparation for SATs, the advanced placement exams, and we do regular tutoring for IB and IGCSE curriculum for grade 9 to grade 12 students. So currently, we have around 700 and odd students who are preparing with us either for the SATs or the APs or the tutoring. And we also help students with college admission counseling, basically guiding them on how to build a profile which will stand out in some of the top most selective universities of the world. So I head QFS. I am the founder of QFS, and coming to APs, we have been teaching advanced placement exams for the past 11 years. I think we were one of the early starters who started teaching APs in 2013 in India when hardly there were few takers for APs. But as I'm speaking with you, this year the number of AP registrations have skyrocketed, and the popularity of APs have gained tremendously in the last 3, 4 years. So the agenda for the session today is to help you understand more about the advanced placement exams, how to go about preparing for the new digital AP, what changes are happening, how APs can help you to get college credits, help you to save on your fees, and also how it helps you to make your application stand out when you're applying to college. So we'll discuss all of this. I'll keep it short. This will be like a quick 20-25 minute session, and post which I'll open the Q&A session, and you can ask me all your doubts related to APs after I'm done with my presentation. So that's the brief background. As I mentioned, we are Bangalore based, but we have students across India, even outside India. I think 20% of our students are even outside India. And we, help students with basically those who are planning to pursue their UG abroad. And we help them, guide them in preparing for the SATs, the advanced placement exams, plus helping them with the entire college admission counseling in terms of building a profile which will stand out in some of the top most selective universities of the world. So that's our background. Okay, so let's get started with the session. So let me brief you what AP exams are and uh, why students should take up APs. So AP exams allow high school students to take AP courses, preparing them for college level academics. Now, APs basically are first semester college level courses. These courses are meant to be taught during college first year, but there is a provision that high school students can take up APs, and if you end up scoring above 3 out of 5, so this is scored out of 5 points. If you end up scoring a 4 or a 5 out of 5 on your APs, you get exemption to study these subjects when you go to college first year. So what basically you are doing is something which is meant to be taught in college first year, you are trying to take that exam as a high school student, which is between grade 9 to grade 12. And if you end up scoring a 4 or a 5 out of 5 on your APs, this is scored out of 5 points. And if you end up with a 4 or a 5, you will get college credits for those subjects, which will allow you to skip your college first semester courses. So that is the reason that students take up APs. One, you are by doing these AP courses, you are trying to tell the college that look, something which is meant to be taught in college first year, I attempted the same course as a high school student and I cracked the exam, which shows the college that you are ready for the academic rigor of the college. When you do a college level course as a grade 9 or a grade 10 or a grade 11 student and you end up acing that, it shows the college that you will be able to ace all these college level courses when you get accepted by the college. So that is the primary reason that students take up APs, to strengthen their college profile, which will help them to stand out in the academic competition that we are in. The byproduct advantage is, since you have already taken up the college level course as a high school student, colleges allow you to skip the college first semester course of the same subject what you have already studied at high school. So when you go to first year, and if you say have already studied few of the first year courses as a high school student, colleges will give you exemption from those subjects and you can directly take up second year courses itself during your first year college, which will help you to graduate a semester early or sometimes a year early. In fact, I'm proud to state that many of my students are able to finish their undergrad in 3 years instead of 4 years because of the AP credits that they have. Okay, so and when you finish it in 3 years, what's the advantage? You end up paying only for 3 year tuition fees. You do not end up paying for 4 years of college, and that is one way to get a merit scholarship. So if you end up doing your undergrad in 3 years, you're basically saving the entire 1 year of your college fees, tuition fees, living expenses, whatever it is, which typically comes around the 45-50 lakh range, or even sometimes more in some of those selective US universities. So guys, double advantage you have by doing APs. One, it's a must if you are applying to the top most selective universities of the world to strengthen your academic profile in the college. And the byproduct advantage is it also helps you to finish your graduation early by getting those college credits, which will help you to save on so much of your fees. Now, moving to the next part. So who conducts the APs? The AP exams are conducted by College Board. So College Board is the authorized organization to conduct the SATs and the APs across the world. So it's conducted by the College Board and the exam happens only once a year in the month of May. Now, it happens once a year in the month of May, but during May, it actually happens twice. So one sitting happens during the first week of May and one sitting happens during the third week of May. The reason APs are conducted twice in the month of May is because if one of your dates are clashing with your school exams, you can opt to take the second date. So the question papers will be different, but the level of difficulty will be the same. So if you know that you're doing your IGCSE and your exams are clashing during the first sitting, you can opt for the second sitting date. Both the dates of each of these courses are already available on the College Board website, and your timetables are already out for the IGCSE or so. CBSE and ICSE, this never clashes. It only clashes for the GCSE students, and your timetables are out. So you can opt to take either the first week of May sitting or the third week of May sitting, depending on your convenience, and avoiding any clash with your school exams. Okay, next, it encompasses over 30 subjects. So there are more than 30 courses to choose from in your APs. You have APs in calculus, physics, chemistry, biology, statistics, economics, computer science, psychology, history, world history, European history, comparative government, and human geography, environmental studies. You can check the entire list on the College Board website. Now, which subject should you choose to do APs? This is a one-on-one interaction that your school counselor will do, or you can take our help in choosing the right AP subjects. Generally, there are two factors to be considered while choosing the AP subjects. First is your interest level in the subject. Just do not take up the subject because someone is telling you to do. You must have an interest, because you have to understand you need to score a 4 or a 5 out of 5 on your APs. Otherwise, that AP has no meaning as well. So choose the subjects in which you genuinely feel you are very interested, and you will spend a lot of time studying that, and you will enjoy studying that, and you will be able to ace the exam. So that is the first factor. Second, it can be sometimes, or may not be also sometimes, aligned to the major that you would want to pursue in college. Now, someone who says, I want to pursue a computer science major in undergrad, colleges would love to see your ability in math. Okay, so taking up an AP calculus makes sense if you're planning to pursue an AP computer science, or say AP calculus, AP computer science, AP statistics. These are all linked to the major that you would want to pursue. So you can have a mixture of both. Some of the APs which demonstrates your interest level in the subject that you would want to pursue, and sometimes you end up taking APs outside the major that you would want to pursue, just to show the other side of yours, just to show a little diversification in your profile. So a student planning to say pursue computer science, if he takes up microeconomics or a psychology, it also shows the child is not just good at STEM subjects, but he or she is also good at humanity subjects like eco psychology, which shows the other side of your profile. But only if you're comfortable with. Okay, if you say I don't like humanities, I just want to do science, please go ahead and do it. Do those subjects which you love the most, which you feel you will be able to ace in the exam and end up scoring a 4 or a 5 on your AP. Otherwise, the exam will have no worth or meaning in your profile. Okay. So these are the two factors. Those who are already in grade 11 or grade 12, for you, it makes sense to choose only those AP subjects which are linked to the major that you would want to pursue. But those who are in grade 9, grade 10, you have a lot of time. So you can take up few APs in 9th, few in 10th, few in 11th. You can have a mixture of your interest subjects, which is linked to the major, plus a little, the diversified subjects as well. So as I mentioned, it has to be a one-on-one interaction, a counselor guiding you on this, helping you to choose the right AP subjects, right? Okay, so you can see the list of those 30 subjects on the College Board website. From when can you start taking up APs? You can start taking up APs as early as grade 9. So your AP scores are valid from grade 9 to grade 12, and it is valid until you apply to the college. So if you have taken up a AP in grade 9 and got a 5 on 5, that score is valid at the time of your college application. The validity of these scores are typically 5 years. Okay. So yeah, grade 9 onward students are eligible to take up APs. I have mentioned here a score of a 3 or a higher on AP exams qualifies students to earn college credits. Yes, it is true that if you get a 3 also, some of the colleges are okay to give you credits. But if I talk about the top 20 universities, they may not be okay with you scoring a 3 on a 5 to get you those credits. Most of them would need at least a 4 or a 5 out of 5 on your APs. So on the safer side, it's good to score a 4 or a 5. Now, many of you will wonder what it is like 5 on 5. How does this marking actually works? The paper is of 100 marks, guys, but they have scaled the score out of 5 and they have cutoffs for each of these subjects. So to give you an example, to get a 5 on 5 on an AP Calculus BC exam, a student needs to score a 60-65%. Anyone who scores above a 60% on a Calculus BC ends up getting a 5 on 5 on the AP. Now, your exact marks are not reported in your report card. What it shows is whether you got a 5 or a 4 or a 3. Someone who has got a 70 versus 90, both of them will get a 5 on 5 on the AP. Now, these cutoffs vary from exam to exam. So for a calculus, it may be a 60% to get a 5, but say for a psychology, it may be around a 75% to get a 5 on 5, because of the varying level of difficulty of these subjects. And something like a physics, which I feel is the most difficult AP, the cutoff is around a 55% to get a 5 on 5 on a physics C mechanics or a physics C electricity magnetism. So you can check the last year AP cutoffs, which are mentioned on the College Board website. That gives you an idea of what's the range for each of the subjects to get a 5 or a 4 or a 3. Okay. So that's how the exam is scaled and scored. Okay. Okay. Moving on. Benefits of taking OPAP courses. What are the advantages? The first, as I had mentioned, the edge in college admissions. This should be your primary reason to take AP, to get that edge in a college application. Look, guys, you need to understand many kids are scoring very high nowadays in the school exams, right? 80, 85, 90, 95. I mean, you see many kids doing that. How do you stand out in this academic competition that we are in? Uh, One way is to do Olympiads, where you compete among the national and the international level students, which shows okay where you stand nationally and internationally. And second is by taking up these AP courses. When you actually do a high college level course as a high school student, believe me, this has a lot of value in your college application. And I have a lot of data to support it. I think we are the largest AP test prep of this country today with the number of students that we are tutoring. And we have been doing it for past so many years. And when we see students taking up APs versus those who did not, and we end up checking their, the college that they ended up getting, especially in the most selective US universities, I can tell you that there is an advantage for students who did APs versus those. Of course, there are other factors which are taken into consideration. AP is not the only factor which gets you admission, but it gets you an edge. I mean, it's a very common sense thing. Someone who just takes up a CBSE curriculum and gets a 90, and along with that, there is another one who says, I did CBSE, I got a 90, I did 5 more APs also, and I got a 515 in that. You're a college admission officer, you're like, wow, this guy has challenged himself way more than what the other person has challenged. Of course, there are other, as I told you, other factors also, but it definitely gives you an edge. So give that importance to APs. It definitely gives you an edge in your college application. So that's the first reason that I am asking you to do APs, is to get an edge in college admission. Second, as I tell you, 85% of selective US colleges. So the reason I've mentioned the word selective US colleges, uh, it gives you an edge, especially when you're applying to those top universities. Someone planning to apply to an Ivy League or a Georgia Tech, Berkeley, UCLA, a Carnegie Mellon, the admission rates in these universities have gone down to single digits, and these are low single digits. If you check the admission statistics for this year, the last admissions that have just happened, some of these selective universities are saying their admission acceptance rates are just 3 or 4%. Now you need to do a lot more to make sure that you qualify in that 3%, when out of 100 only 3 are going to make it. So APs helps you to demonstrate that academic achievement or abilities. Third advantage, earn college credits. So this is another big advantage, guys. This is not just about finishing your undergrad in 3 years instead of 4 because of doing these APs. It gives you a lot more flexibility during your undergrad. What I've seen in the past is those who did a lot of these APs, not necessarily they did APs and they ended up finishing their undergrad in 3 years. Many of them actually, took a double major because of the college credits that they have. Now, when you go to a college and you say you already have a 25 credits on a CS major, you're like, fine, why not I do a double major? I also take up a major in mathematics or economics. And because I've already got those 25 credits, I'll be able to finish my double major in 4 years itself instead of taking up 5 years normally when you take up a double major. Or when students take up double major without taking up APs, it becomes a lot more intensive during your undergrad years. So having those credits also gives you that flexibility of taking up more courses during the university years and still end up finishing your undergrad in 4 years. And not just these courses. How about involving in a research project with a professor? You have to, your academic load is light, and you can, participate in various other things in the university. And that's why you are going there also, right? Not just for the academics, but also as an overall experience. So how about participating in, debate clubs or other activities, or taking up a research under a professor? And you have that flexibility because your academic workload is a little less because of the credits that you have secured during your APs. So speak to some of your seniors if you want to, someone who is there in your first year, second year college, and they'll validate what I'm trying to say. Because we generally have around 600 kids who graduate from my institute and end up doing their undergrad in the US or the other, top selective universities in other countries. And when we talk to them later and, ask their experience, this is a very common feedback that we have got is, so the APs that we did, some of them end up saying, I'm just graduating in 3 years. Some say, I did 2 years, I have taken a break, I've got an internship, and I'm just going to do that internship for an year. And then again, I'll go back to college and finish my third year, fourth year. This is a very recent feedback I got from a student who ended up with Georgia Tech. And I was speaking to him when he was on his vacation, and he's like, sir, I'm taking a year gap from the university because the company in which I've got my internship, they have extended my internship from 3 months to 6 months, and they'll end up doing it for another 6 more months. So I want to do an internship for 1 year and then again take up 2 years. And this guy had 8 APs at the time of him going to Georgia Tech, and he has 34 credits with him. So he'll still end up finishing his undergrad in 4 years, including 1 year of internship. So a lot of flexibility, guys, that APs give you. You can finish early, save on the fees, you can take up more courses, do a double major, triple major, or you end up taking a break, do your internships and go back. So a lot of these advantages, right? Financial saving. I mean, if you end up finishing in 3 years, you are not paying for the college, you end up saving the entire 1 year of your tuition fees, which is a huge amount. And especially in these most selective universities, getting scholarship is almost impossible for an international student. So the only way you can cut down on the fees or save on your fees is by doing these AP courses. Next is discover passions. Now, what do I mean by this? Sometimes you want to explore a subject which you have not taken up at school. You don't know whether you'll be good at it or not, but you would want to explore. Say something like an economics, and you're a grade 9 student who has not had any exposure to economics, but you would, and you know you don't like sciences. So you like, let me try my hand in economics and let me see whether I would like that subject or not. So sometimes just to explore your interest, or say something like a psychology, you have not been exposed in school till 10th, but you would want to, explore that subject to see if this is a good career fit for you. So instead of doing these aptitude testing and all that, and if you, it's better that you do something hands-on to experience whether you are good at it or not. So yeah, APs is one way to explore that subject. Merit-based scholarships, the last point. As I told you, the scholarships are very difficult to get in, but not impossible to get in from these selective universities. So some of them offer merit-based scholarship. Now, what do I mean by merit-based? It's purely on the merit. Now, you need to show why you deserve that merit-based scholarship because you stand out from the crowd who have applied. Your academics are stupendous, your profile is stupendous, and then colleges would want to entice you with some of these merit-based scholarships so that you select their university. So APs definitely will be one factor which will be considered while giving the merit-based scholarship, because it genuinely shows the child has put in lot of rigor, lot of academic effort during the high school to do those college level courses. Okay, so these are the benefits of taking APs, guys. Now let's understand the structure of the exam. Now APs have two components. One is there is a multiple choice section and there is a free response question. So free response is the subjective question. So you have a mixture of multiple choice and free response. It's 70% of the paper is multiple choice and 30% of the paper is free response questions. In most of the APs. Exam is scored out from 1 to 5, where a score of 3 is deemed qualified for credit. Again, I'm telling you, 3 is not for the most selective universities. When you go up, I mean, you need a 4 or a 5 out of 5. University credits. The exams are designed to evaluate students' mastery of college level content and critical thinking abilities. As I mentioned, this is just the exact replica of the college first semester course. So yeah, it is the exam is designed in a way to evaluate your college level mastery of a certain subject. Okay. The transition to the new digital AP exam. Starting in May 2025, 28 AP exams will shift to a digital format using the Blue Book app. Now, those who have already taken up the SATs will be familiar with the Blue Book app, right? And those who have not taken up the SATs till now, you will have enough practice resources. College Board is also going to release some of the practice on the new Blue Book app, so you will get an idea how the Blue Book app works. Okay, I think most of you would have done your SATs, especially 9th and 10th graders would have not done. So when you are preparing with us, all the mock tests and everything that we'll be doing will be on exact replica of the Blue Book app. So uh, you will have enough practice before you actually attempt the AP exam. Now, College Board is also going to release few free resources uh, so that students get accustomed to the Blue Book app. Okay. Now, till now, the exam was a pen and paper based exam for APs, but from 2025 they have moved to digital. Okay, why are they moving to digital? The first reason is enhanced security. Now, the bigger cause is, I think the biggest cause they are shifting to digital is because of paper leakage and all those stuffs. So to avoid that, to enhance the security of the exam has shifted to the new digital format. Students will have the flexibility to take their exams on various digital devices. Now, you can take up the exam in your iPad, your laptop, your MacBook, whatever you want, you can take. But this cannot be taken at your home. You need to go to the exam center. Uh, First, you have to register for the exam. I'm sure most of you would have done it. Those who have not, will help you with registering the exam. And the date will be assigned to you, time will be assigned to you. You need to go with your laptop, charger, and then the exam will be conducted on your own laptop. Unchanged exam content. Remember, the content of the exam has not changed from the pen paper to the digital. It's only the way of conducting the exam which is changing. So, content stays the same, the syllabus stays the same. Uh, Exam logistics and features, as I told you, can be taken on Mac, Windows, iPads, Chromebooks. The Blue Book app controls timing and submission, ensuring a structured testing environment. The beauty of this Blue Book is it does not work if you open a tab on your laptop. So the moment you open anything else on the laptop, the exam will close immediately and your questions will be submitted immediately. You cannot open anything else while taking the exam on your laptop. Okay. So, and of course, there'll be an invigilator as well who will be invigilating this exam. So no Google, no GPT, nothing. The moment you open anything on the laptop, exam gets submitted. Over. uh, Internet connectivity, sometimes many of you will be like, sir, what happens if the internet goes off? Students can continue the testing even if the internet drops. So that is the beauty of this Blue Book experience. You actually, even if the internet goes for some time and all, the exam won't stop. You can still continue to take the exam. I have mentioned 28 exams are shifting to the digital format. Not all of them are going fully digital. So 16 of them are going fully digital. 12 of them will be in the hybrid format. Now, which 12 AP exams are in the hybrid format and what's the difference between the fully digital exam and the hybrid format? First of all, I have given the list of the APs which have gone hybrid. So you have biology, pre-calculus, calculus BC and AB, chemistry, macro, microeconomics, physics. There are 4 varieties of physics, as you know. Physics 1, Physics 2, Physics C mechanics, and Physics C electricity magnetism. All 4 have gone hybrid, and AP stats. So if you see, these are mostly the science subjects which are in hybrid format. Now, what happens in the hybrid format is your MCQ questions will be on the Blue Book software. And the free response question, you need to write on the paper and submit it to the invigilator. So the question will come on the laptop for the free response, the subjective one, and you have to write your answer in a piece of paper and submit it as part of your submission. So MCQs will be submitted directly on the Blue Book. And free response, the questions will be in front of your laptop, but you have to write your answer on a piece of paper. That is the meaning of hybrid exam. Fully digital is the free response also you are going to type it in the space provided on the exam. Now, which have gone fully digital? I'm not mentioned here, but this is the psychology and everything what you don't see here have gone fully digital, except languages and music exam and seminar. So apart from your EP Chinese, Spanish, and all those languages and music and seminar, everything else is fully digital. Your psychologies, your English, or your computer science. So all of these are fully digital. Even your free response questions have to be typed in. So no pen and paper thing. Okay. So the list of hybrid I've given and everything else is fully digital. Ones which are pen and paper are the ones which are only language or music based. Your AP Spanish, French, or the except English, all the other foreign languages. So those are still pen and paper and AP Music and AP Seminar. Okay. So I hope this is clear, the difference between fully digital versus the hybrid exam. Now, what are the things that students need to do before going for the exam? Understand the format of the exam. Familiarize yourself with the structure and type of questions to expect. How many questions are going to come as MCQ? What's the time that they will devote for those MCQ questions? How much time will you get for your free response questions and the time allotted, and what's the structure of the exam like? When you analyze your past papers, you'll be able to understand what kind of difficulty level the exam is at and how do they ask the questions. So practice with past papers is very important. Where do you get these past papers? Go to collegeboard.org website. All the past papers are available. Now, only the free response questions are available on the past papers, not the MCQ questions. But QFS has some of access to the MCQ questions also from the past papers, which we'll provide you. How do we have it? We cannot. So as I mentioned, after the exam happens, it comes online from some resources. Utilizing AP classroom resources. Now, when you have registered for the APs, you will have a AP classroom in the college board section. Okay. So utilize those resources as well while practicing for practice questions, and I think they have some video explanations also for some of those topics. Engaging in test previews. Try to do a lot of mock tests before you sit for the exam. Okay, especially timing yourself so that you do not run out of time. You know how. So practicing 6, 7, 8 mocks before the exam, or even a little more, uh, you will be able to do time management very well during the exam. And very importantly, utilizing Blue Book's digital features. Because the exam has gone digital, there are a lot of features on the Blue Book app that one must know. You know, highlighting certain part of the question, how to go back, front, how to go to a question number directly. So these are the things that you must familiarize yourself before going for the digital AP. You should not be in a position where you are trying to figure out how to use that app during the exam and wasting your time. So understand all the features that are available on the Blue Book app and familiarize yourself with those. Expert tutoring. Consider now. Sometimes for some of the subjects or most of the subjects, it's very difficult to self prep for the AP and get a 5 on 5. Remember, guys, this is still a college level first semester course, and understanding the cutoffs that you get, you need to get a 60%. You need to understand what kind of difficulty the exam will also be at. It's not going to be easy. That's why the cutoffs are at 60-65% to get a 5 on 5. So if you can pull it off yourself, if you are very disciplined, who can, self prepare and use the resources available, well and good. Otherwise, take help from tutors who can help you prepare well for this exam. The difference between SAT and AP is SAT gives you a lot of chances to take up. You have the exam happens 7 times a year. End up doing bad in first attempt, you can take help outside and then prepare again and do your second attempt. The problem with AP is you only get a chance in every year, and hardly any chances. I don't know how many of you are even in grade 9. Most of you will be in 10th or 11th. Hardly will have 1 or 2 chances to maximize the number of APs that you can do. So taking sometimes a little external help, makes the preparation a little more structured and prepares you very well for the exams. Study schedules, create a detailed study plan to ensure comprehensive coverage of material. So understand the syllabus of the AP exam, and you must ensure that you are covering everything as part of your prep. Impact of AP exams on college admissions. I think we have spoken about this. Why is it beneficial in some of the most selective universities of the US? Showcases academic rigor, demonstrate motivation. It shows that someone is highly motivated, uh, to study the subject in depth, even outside the school level curriculum. Influence admission decisions, selective institutions preference. When you're applying to the most selective universities, someone with AP, without AP, someone with AP may get an edge over someone who's not done an AP. AP Scholar Awards and Recognitions. Students taking more than 3 AP courses can earn AP Scholar Award. So if you end up taking 3 or more APs and you get a 3 or above out of 5 on each of them, you end up getting a AP Scholar certificate from College Board. So the criteria is minimum of 3 APs with a minimum of 3 in each of the subjects. So that's called the AP Scholar certificate from College Board. So that shows, okay, you're a scholar student. Another thing is which all countries accept AP and where actually you should, for which countries you should actually do AP. For US universities, it's a no-brainer to have those APs. When it comes to other countries, guys, Singapore, okay, if you're planning to apply to an NUS or an NTU, a 90% on your CBSE, ICSE will not get you through. They need to see a lot more academics in your profile, and they say 3 APs are recommended to be taken. So if you're applying to Singapore also, I recommend you to have minimum 3 APs, and each of them must be a 5 on 5 if you're looking at NUS NTU. So you can probably do 4 or 5 APs and try to get a 5 on 5 in at least 3 of them. So one is for US, second is for Singapore. When it comes to UK, only if you're applying to the Cambridge or say a London School of Economics or a UCL, the top 3 consider having APs. In fact, Cambridge has mentioned on their website, a student applying from India with a CBSE, ICSE background must have 5 APs to be eligible to apply to Cambridge. Otherwise, you are not even eligible to apply to Cambridge. They're asking for 5 AP courses. So only for say a Cambridge, a London School of Economics, or a UCL, consider doing APs for these UK universities. For European universities, avoid doing APs. For Canada, I don't know anyone wants to go to Canada in this political scenario. So this year we have no one who's applying to Canada. So let's not talk about it. If anything happens later, let's see. So UK, Europe, Singapore, US, Australia, you don't need APs to get into Australian universities. So it's primarily for the US, primarily for the Singapore, or the top 3 universities of the UK. So consider doing APs for these. And when it comes to other European countries, I mean, if you're applying to say the number 1 university of the country or say number 2 university of that particular country in Europe, I mean, you need to go to their website and check if APs are going to influence their admissions in any way. Uh, Europe is coming up very new now with the students. We are trying to explore as well. So you need to actually check the individual college website to see if APs can influence admissions in any way there. So yeah, so that's the and India, you don't need APs, okay, for any of these Indian universities. So that's the recognition for the APs in global scenario. Another point that I would want to address here is APs for IB students versus non-IB students, or say AP for IB Cambridge students versus CBSE, ICSE students. There's a difference here, guys, and very important for you to understand this. Now, for those who are doing IB curriculum, in grade 11 and grade 12, you end up taking 3 HL and 3 SL, 3 high level subjects and 3 standard level subjects. Each of these high level subjects are treated equivalent to an AP course. So by default, every IB student has 3 APs in their profile. If you end up taking, say, a math, physics, chemistry, or a math, physics, economics at your HL in IB in 11th, 12th, your IB math HL is treated equivalent to an AP calculus. IB physics is treated equivalent to an AP physics. So if you end up getting a 7 on a 7 or a 6 on a 7 in your IBDP final exams, colleges will allow you to skip the college first semester courses of these subjects. Get a 7 on 7 in your math AHL, you need not take up AP calculus when you go to college first semester. Or say a 7 on 7 in physics, you do not need to take AP physics in college first semester. So by default, IB students are doing 3 APs as part of their academics itself. The question arises here is, should IB students then do APs? Now, in our institute, the IB kids who are doing APs are those, number 1, who are able to manage academics very well. They know they are doing the IB curriculum very well at school, they are scoring well, and they can take up the extra load. And they end up taking APs in those subjects which they are not taking as part of their IB HLs. So I have students who want to say pursue computer science major and say take up math, physics, chemistry as their HL. They end up doing AP computers, AP statistics, AP psychology, so that they get credits for their HL subjects, plus they get credits for their APs as well. So they end up getting credits for 5, 6 subjects, and also to show diversification to the college. I took math, physics, chemistry at school, and I also end up doing AP stats and AP computers and another AP or so, right? So IB, it's not very common that all kids do APs. The first criteria we have is you must ace your school first. So if you're doing very well in school, you can take up extra load, then only think about doing APs. The best time for IB kids, I feel, to take APs is mostly their grade 9 and grade 10, which is academically less challenging compared to your IBDP. So in 9th grade, if you already have made up your mind that these are my HL subjects, which are going to be in 11th and 12th, then other subjects you can take up as APs in grade 9 and 10th. Okay. Same thing is applicable for Cambridge kids as well. The A levels. If your A level subjects are treated equivalent to an AP course. So if you want to take up APs in those subjects which you are not going to take as part of your Cambridge A levels, except math. So remember, Cambridge A level math is not treated equivalent to an AP calculus course. Cambridge A level further math is treated equivalent to AP calculus. So if you're taking only math and you want to apply for a CS major, consider taking up a AP calculus BC. They want to see math. If you want to apply for a CS or a eco major, they want to see you're very smart in math. I'm just giving example here with math. And the reason I'm taking example again and again for say calculus or computers, one is I teach calculus myself and I am from Bangalore. So Many of these kids want to pursue CS major, ITCT of the. So yeah, so this was the thing for Cambridge and IB kids. For CBSE ISC, unfortunately, we do not have that advantage. Our curriculum are not treated equivalent to an AP curriculum. So if you even have math, physics, chemistry in your school and you want to save apply for engineering, consider taking up AP calculus, AP physics also. Okay, now does that mean that IB or a Cambridge curriculum is treated superior to a CBSE ISC curriculum? My answer is no. Then why is there a disparity? Guys, IB and Cambridge are globally recognized curriculums. Okay, the whole UK studies are A levels, the whole Europe studies an IB or a A level, and also globally, or Australia studies IB and all that. So it's globally recognized. They checked the IB textbooks. They saw, okay, this is very similar to AP, and that's why they have this recognition for AP credits. But they cannot check every single board of every single country to see if it matches with the AP curriculum or not. If they end up doing for CBSE, then they have to do for ICSE, then state board, then Pakistan board or China board. I don't know. There'll be hundreds of boards for each of the country, and they cannot check everyone. That is why there is no recognition for non-IB A level for the APs. So for CBSE ISC, it becomes way more critical to do these APs. One is to match with the IB A level kids. They have 3 AP credits with them already in their profile. You need to have at least 3 to even match them in terms of the college credits or the academic rigor there. And then you can end up taking even more depending on which year you are starting preparing for these APs. Okay, and for IBA level, does it make sense to do APs? As I mentioned, if you're doing very well in school, you think you can take up extra load in subjects which you are not taken at school level, do end up taking a couple of APs as well. It will further enhance your academic profile. Okay, so that's the APs for IB versus CBSE. So challenges while preparing for this APs. So students struggle to manage AP coursework alongside other academic responsibilities. It's a common problem that all parents will tell me. Abhishek, so much already to do at school. How can they do another AP? Uh, I have no answer. You need to balance it out, okay? And you need to understand what colleges you are going to apply to also. So have that in mind and then push yourself. If you say, sir, I want to apply to Harvard, तो भाई पढ़ो और 10 घंटे पढ़ो और 5 घंटे और एक्स्ट्रा मेहनत कर because that's the only way to get in there, and there's no point complaining ki how will with school, how do I manage this, how do I manage that. You need to manage. Those who are not preparing for APs, those who are preparing for Indian entrance exams are also managing, right? They are preparing for a JE or a NEET, and they manage their school along with those prep. So you need to balance, and you need to have a good balance. Do not overgo on one of them. It should not randomly you say, sir, I want to do 5 APs, and then your school academics gets affected and goes down. That should not be the case, because if that happens, that will be a disaster for you. School academics carry 60% of the weightage in your college application. So you need to take those many APs which you can take, still maintaining that academics in school, okay, which does not get affected. So an appropriate balance is required. Managing exam stress. Of course, these are college level courses and you're a high school student. So there'll be that stress, but you need to manage that stress. That's why doing these mock papers will give you a lot of confidence. If you are doing well in your mocks, you'll be able to ace the exam. So that's one way to manage stress, is to practice for it. Adapting to digital format. I was very clear. Please adapt yourself to the new digital blue book software. Do not end up in the exam and then try to figure out, अरे क्या करना है इसके साथ. No. So understand the software very well. What are the features that you are going to get, and use these features to the best. And those who are attempting, say, for a calculus or a statistics or physics, understanding the graphic calculator. That's very important, especially for CBSE, ICSE students who are not using GDC, the graphic display calculator in your school, because 30% of the calculus paper happens on the graphic display calculator. So understanding the features of the calculator and how best you can use it for your questions, that's very important. So understand the calculator as well as the blue book software. Content, APs are tested in depth. The contents are in depth. These are college first level courses. So you need to understand the syllabus of the exam very well, and need to understand how much in depth you need to go for each of the topics that are asked in the exam. Time management, very important, guys. It's a time bound test, so do a lot of these mocks to manage your time. You'll be able to finish the exam in the stipulated time. Make a good study plan. You need to it has to be in a disciplined way. You need to make a plan. Okay, how much time are we going to spend AP for every AP every week and from now until May? Someone who does it over a period of 6 months, AP is one of the easiest exam to crack. It's nowhere close to IIT, JEE and all those, okay? But it needs discipline. So you cannot 10 days before the exam कि चलो खोल के 5 ले आते हैं, वो नहीं होगा. Maintain that discipline. Familiarizing with exam format, understand what MCQ questions and what's a free response question, how many sections are going to be in the exam, how much time is going to be stipulated for each. So familiarize yourself with the exam format. Okay, so what are the AP courses which are offered? As I had mentioned, there are around 30 courses to choose from. There are STEM subjects, there are humanities courses, APs in art history, art design and all that. So understand what offerings are there, what is the difference between a physics 1 versus a physics C mechanics, what is the difference between calculus AB versus calculus BC. So you need to understand those differences before committing to the exam. So many times we have seen students going for the wrong subjects because they don't know the difference. And I don't know whom they're asking also. So ask people who know about each of these subjects in depth and they can give you the right guidance. नहीं कि अपने आप चलो physics 1 ले लेते हैं, physics C ले लेते हैं. You understand the difference, which one you should go for. Okay. So exploring how AP courses equip students for real world challenges and career, develops critical skills in you, foundation knowledge for careers. So AP is the college first semester course. It's the foundation, for the major that you would want to pursue. Future AP exams discuss later. So shift to digital right now. It's digital, but what we feel is AI is also going to get incorporated in the future. The highlights of AP prep at QFS. How are we going to help you to prepare for these AP exams? So first of all, as I had mentioned, we were the first ones to start teaching APs in this country back in 2013. So, and we are delivering excellent results for the past 10 years. You can check all our results on our website, questforsuccess.in. You can see the last year results there. So I think we are the leaders in terms of the results that we are delivering. Our average is 4.3 on a 5. All access to resources, including tests aligned with the new digital format. We are already getting our software ready for the new digital AP. So all the students will be practicing with us, preparing with us, will have access to the Blue Book software, exactly replicating the AP new digital format so that you do a lot of these mock tests in those and familiarize yourself with the software and all. So we are preparing this for our students. Expert tutors, because we have been teaching for past 9, 10, 11 years, all our teachers are highly experienced in teaching. Sorry, it's for AP scores, not SAT scores. So we do SAT also. Class structure, frequency 2 hours per week per subject. Most of the AP classes we have already started, guys, in November now. So even if you're joining, you may have missed, say, 2 or 3 classes, and each of the classes gets recorded. So we are going to provide you the recording of these classes so that you can quickly watch those 2, 3 classes and join the classes immediately. And even after you join, sometimes if you miss a class because of your school exam or any other commitments, you get the access to the recording immediately after the class gets over on our software in which the class gets conducted. So you have access to these recordings so that you can catch up with that. So 2 hours per week per subject. That's the commitment for the class, and say an hour per week on your side to do your homework and everything. So the commitment is 3 hours per week per subject. And these are all live online classes. We have students across India, spread across India, even many of them are outside India as well. So that's the way we go about preparing for APs, teach all the content in the class, give homework. Then when it comes to mock test, we do a lot of these mock tests, practice past papers and all that so that you are ready to take up your APs. So let me summarize all that I have told you. Reason to take up AP, show your academic credentials to the college. Second reason, get those college credits. So basically stand out in your admissions and get your college credits. Next, AP is transitioning digitally in 2025. So you need to accustom yourself to the new Blue Book software. 16 of them are going fully digital, 12 of them are going in the hybrid format. The ones which are going in the hybrid format are the science subjects, like the calculus, stats, physics, and or chemistry and bio and all. Others are fully digital. Why is digital transition happening? To enhance more security of the exam so that the paper leakage and all can be stopped. Preparation is crucial. If you want to do AP, only do AP to get a 4 or a 5. Otherwise, that AP has no meaning. Those scores have no meaning for you. So you need to prepare for it to get that kind of a score. And use available resources. So resources are available on the AP classroom, and those who want to self-prepare for the exam and you need some PDF textbooks, guys, we are going to provide you with free PDF textbooks which can help you to prepare for the APs. So those who want to prepare, self-prepare, I'm going to share our email ID and WhatsApp numbers. If you are registering for the exam, if you have registered for it and you need free textbooks to prepare, guys, we are going to, no, at no cost, okay? We are going to give you the PDF books and few of the past papers that we have which are not available on the College Board website. We'll provide both free of cost, which can help you self-prepare for the exam. For me, the idea is get those high scores, which will help you to get into some of those top universities of the world. So this is us, guys. There are no shortcuts to any place worth going. So work hard, do these APs, do your SATs, and create a very strong profile, do well in your academics. There are three components in your college application. One is school academics. 60% weightage is there. 20% weightage on your SATs and APs. And the balance 20% is your profile, your internships, your research projects, your co-curricular activities, your extracurriculars, your community service projects, your essays that you write for college. Everything has to be ticked for you to make it to some of those elite universities. So it's not at the compromise of one over the other. Balance everything very well, and that's the uh, and how can you balance is someone expert guiding you on how each of them can be balanced, maintaining good academics, still end up doing APs and SAT, and create a stellar profile. So even when you're doing profile building, a lot of students, I feel, you end up doing stuffs which are not relevant for college, but okay, someone has told you or some your friend of you has told you and you end up doing. Time is limited. You need to utilize this time so well that you're doing things which are going to stand out in your college application and not wasting time in other stuff. And that's where the role of a good college counselor comes in, to identify the right things for you which will help you to stand out in your college application, which can be your right research projects, which can be your right internships, which can be the right competitions that you need to participate in, and how to all of this, how this can be showcased to the college as part of your essays, shortlisting the right set of colleges for you. So that's where an external guidance or external help. So at QFS, we do SAT prep in-house, we do our AP prep in-house, and I head the college counseling myself, where I help students individually one-on-one in planning for their entire profile building journey. Stuffs to do, I shortlist the right competitions, programs, or research projects or internships or your extracurriculars, your community service, and we plan it out which month we are doing what, so that this can be spread out over the next 1 or 2 years, how much time you have, and that can make a profile which will give us an edge in some of the most selective universities of the world. So that's QFS, and that's me from uh, QFS. And I'll now open up the question and answer session. Guys, these are our numbers. The number on the right is my direct number. The number on the left is my brother Jayant. So Jayant heads the SAT and APs. I head the college counseling of QFS. So Jayant heads the SAT, APs, and tutoring part, the IBIG, and I head the college counseling. So you to know more about us, just go to questforsuccess.in and you can see what courses we do.